Hey guys, I'm Pam from Rock and Resources, and I wanted to talk to you today about the digital writing resource that I have. It goes along with our ROCKSTAR WRITERS step-by-step writing program that we have in printable, but we also have it digital for PowerPoint and for Google. I'm going to display my screen so that you can see what it looks like, but I wanted to tell you that it has everything that you possibly need. There are pacing guides, there's scripted lesson plans, anchor charts, mentor text, modeling. It goes through the writing process. There are note-taking, digital note-taking. There's also self-check slides so that students can do some more practice. There's practice slides as well for them to fill in the blank or slide things together. There's many interactive ways to use the digital resource. This is one example of just some note-taking with dialogue. And on the side, you will see the directions of what students need to do, and they need to slide those words in the right place. So I'm going to jump onto my screen and show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to start by sharing the very first unit. We have 5 units: sentence structure, paragraph writing, narrative writing, opinion writing, and informative writing. And I want to share with you what it looks like digitally. This comes in both Google and PowerPoint. Sentence structure number 1. The reason why they are numbered is because I offer different things. So number 1 is going to be your learning and practice and note-taking. So you're going to have some practice, you're going to have anchor charts, note-taking, and then sentence structure number 2 is going to be a self-check slide, which I'll show you in just a second. All right, so with the sentence structure number 1, here is one of the anchor charts. It gives you examples, some more examples. You have some note-taking. You might have some dragging and dropping. You might have some writing inside. You might have to highlight. So it's a good idea to teach your students how to do those things. What we use: highlighting, drag and drop, sentence boxes, and crossing things off. Here's one example of the practice within sentence structure number 1. And you have all of your directions off to the side. So I make sure that the students look off to the side for their direction and examples. Here are some more practice, and a graphic organizer, and then it gets into the next lesson. So for sentence structure number 2, it's called the self-check. And as you notice, it says, please put into presentation mode. So you would want to put it in presentation mode, press start, and here are your 3 lessons that you saw in sentence structure number 1. You have your 3 lessons here. You click on the one that you're working on. Oops, that's wrong. It takes you back. You choose the right one, and it takes you on to the next question. That is how the self-check goes, and you can go back to the beginning so that you can choose which lesson that you're working on, or you can use this as a review at the end. Then you have your quiz, which is automatic grading, which is awesome. You get to, the students click on the right answer, and the teacher gets the results when they are finished. This goes along with all of those lessons as well. Then we move on to paragraph writing, and it is set up the same way. We have paragraph writing number 1. Here's some directions to show students what to do. Make sure that they slide over for the directions. And we go through, here we have all of the lessons, what they know to expect. We even have a checklist, and you can go through the lessons and talk to the students along the way. Show them that they're going to be taking some notes on that anchor chart. Then you start with a topic sentence. Here's your anchor chart. Here is an example. Here's some note taking so that they can remember what they did. They can go back to the anchor chart to help them along the way, but this just really instills that skill with them. Then we have some practice for topic sentences, highlighting and filling in the blank. So with relevant details, that goes on to your next skill. Here we have the paragraph writing for self-check. You notice that you have all of those skills that we just talked about in this one as well, so that you have all the practice that they have. They just click on the right answer. If it's correct, it goes on to the next one. If it's incorrect, it goes back, and then they can practice the next skill when you're ready for it or use it as a review. With paragraph writing, we do have one more. It's called paragraph writing number 3, and it's applying what you know. There's directions for the students on how to do it, but basically you have your prompt at the top, then you have your hamburger model, and it gives you ideas what to do with the topic sentence. Why don't you try using a sound word like onomatopoeia? Relevant details, it says, you know, go ahead and create those 3 main steps for making popcorn, use some time order words, closing sentences, and then over here they're going to draft the rough draft. There's a box ready for them. And then you have these little check marks where you could drag down into the checklist to make sure that they have done all of those different things within their rough draft. Then you move on to the next page and you copy and paste that revised draft into your blue box, read it over again, add a title, make any changes, and then come over to the right side and do a self-score, and it tells you how to do it over here. Then if the teacher wants to use a different color than the students, they can do that as well. So there's several different prompts, and if you want to change the prompts, you most certainly can. Up here, you can see how you can change it to whatever you would like it to be changed to. So that is an extra with the paragraph writing to give them some extra practice. And then you have your paragraph writing quiz that has those same basic skills that we talked about. And this is automatic grading so that the students will go ahead and take the test and you will automatically have that grade. Now, we're going to go over one of the essay writings. We'll go over the narrative writing, but keep in mind we have opinion writing and informative writing as well. And within those, you have several mini lessons. If you take a look at the table of contents, this is my copy, so I got this blue stuff going on over here, but in the regular copy, I have all that blanked out. Anyway, we have N1, N2, N3, N4. So it shows you all the different lessons. We go all the way up to N26. So that means there are 26 lessons within the narrative writing. Now there is a pacing guide that comes along with this and there are instructions for the teacher. Since these are all the student versions, there is instructions for the teacher, there's scripted lesson plans, there's answer keys, ideas on what to do, all of that is there for you, as well as some extra checklists and that kind of thing. But if we go through, we see that there's all these lessons, and the blue talks about step 1, so that's all the lessons under pre-writing. This is the writing process. Step 2 is the rough draft. Step 3 is dare to revise, and you see all the lessons that go along with that. Step 4, cups to edit. You have all of those lessons. Step 5, peer reflection. Step 6, final copy. And then there are some things for after the instruction that's also in there for the students and you. So let's take a look. So we have an anchor chart. We have some note taking. We have an original mentor text to show them where those narrative elements are. Then we go into step number 1, and within this step, you have note taking where you're dragging, you're clicking inside. So you want to make sure that the students know how to click in the text boxes, drag things, highlight things, cross off things. Then we have the graphic organizer just to show them what it looks like. And then we get into the modeling. This is modeling the pre-writing stage of brainstorming. And then the students apply. So you see up here in modeling, I'll go back. This one says this is the model. So you're doing this with them. All of your teaching strategies are right here. You're building a story with them, and then they're building their own with apply. Then we get into some other skills, task and purpose and audience. And then you get to this little slide that says, hey, see narrative writing 2 for self-check practice. Not all 26 lessons have self-check practice, but if it if there is something that we want to do self-check practice with, you will see that in your slide, the narrative writing number 2. Okay, so here are the things that are included, and you go through the same way if you're going to present it. You read, you decide what the author's purpose is. That is correct. Describe an amusement park. Oops, that's not right. Am I debating it? No, that's not right. I'm describing it. And then it goes on to the next one. And so it tells you within your narrative writing number 1 where there is extra skills, extra practice in the self-check. So then you go through, you can see all the different things that you have here. I'm going to scroll through, and you come, there's some more mentor text for you, and you come across, the application part. So here is applying your story elements and your setting, and then you come to the graphic organizer, which I'm modeling a story for you, and then you're applying, the students are applying their introduction as well. So it builds upon itself. You go through the body. I'm just going to keep scrolling. We got some character traits. We got some graphic organizers where you apply that information, your mentor text. You see that there's also a self-check. And moving right along, we got dialogue, some practice, conclusion. And then you see that the modeling is all put together in a graphic organizer. This is the story that you're building with the students, and then they are applying their own. As you notice, it says to copy and paste the introduction and body before adding your conclusion, so you have it all together. Then moving on to the rough draft, they make some writing goals, and then they have their rough draft. And here's the model of the rough draft of your story that you're building with them. And then here is their story where they apply. Then step 3 is dare to revise, where we're going to delete, add, rearrange, and exchange. And you have all those different things for narrative writing. We also have the dare to revise for opinion and informative. It might be a little bit different with the different types of writing. But I'm just going to keep scrolling through so that you can see all the different things that are being offered within narrative writing. We talk about $1,000,000 words, all these things. All right. When you get to the next step, which we're getting close to, jamming conclusions, crafting a title. Here we go. So then we get to CUPS. CUPS stands for capitalization, usage, punctuation, and spelling. This is step 4 of the writing process. As you can see, there are anchor charts, we have note-taking, there are examples, there's also practice for the students so that they have all the practice that they need to understand each of them: capitalization, usage, punctuation, and spelling. Then, to go along with that, we have the self-check practice. The self-check practice is just like the other practice in narrative writing, except it is in a separate format. That way, if you want to use it with each of the types of writing, you will have that as well. So you see that there are tons of charts with all of those rules, whether it's capitalization rules, usage rules, punctuation rules, spelling rules. You have all of those rules to teach the students so that they can apply that in their writing. Next, there is an assessment. This assessment is located at the end of this unit, or they could do it through the Google quiz, which would give you the automatic grading. All right, let's get to the end. We got peer reflection and final copy, and then students are writing their final copy. At the end, we have a rubric, some tracking, reflections, and also weekly writing. Once you've taught narrative writing, then you can have students do some on their own. And this is a guide for them, as well as some prompts to go with it. In opinion and informative, you will find some passage prompts as well, so that they can read something and respond to it. So I hope this has been good for you. Oh, narrative writing also has a quiz. And the same goes for opinion writing and informative writing. You will have your number one, which is your learning, your note taking, and your application. You have your number two, which is your self-check, and then you have your quiz to grade what they have learned. I hope this has helped you figure out the digital learning part of our writing program. And like I said, there are videos to help you. There is a read first file to tell you how to set it up. And I'm always here if you have any questions.